All right. Ladies and gentlemen, let's get seated. We're about to start with our program. Please, let's minimize the movement. Make sure that you have your seat and you are seated, less movement, so that we start with our program. Thank you. Please note that the proceedings of this session are being carried live on Mahikeng FM and probably other media partners. One of my most favorite phrases of late, which in my view, I believe captures the essence of why we are gathered here today, it was popularized by an Austrian composer, Gustav Mahler, who said, "Tradition is not the worship of ashes, but the preservation of fire." And as we gather here, ladies and gentlemen, today we are about to witness the preservation of a flame that has been passed from generation to generation. Today, as we are gathered here, we're about to witness the preservation of the heritage that should be passed from generation to generation. In a world that has mastered destruction, it is so encouraging this year to learn that there are still institutions that are still concerned about preservation. And today, ladies and gentlemen, I welcome you all to the long-awaited official launch of the brand new broadcasting studios of Mahikeng FM, which were funded and donated by MDDA. Let's give them a big round of applause. MDDA, we give thanks to you for preserving the heritage of this place. Radio is part of the heritage of this place. It's difficult, if not impossible, to mention Mahikeng or to talk about Mahikeng and not mention radio, because Mahikeng is the spiritual home of radio. If you doubt me, go and do your own research. Mahikeng is a rare and a unique platform which identifies, develops, and launches talents of many young people, not just in the Northwest Province, but throughout South Africa. And today, ladies and gentlemen, with youth unemployment being at the all-time high, I think it's time that now we need to take our attention into focusing into arts, into gifts and the talent and the purpose of young people. But all this will not be possible without proper studios. Now, there are many communities around here that rely on this station for information, for education, but also for entertainment. But again, that would not be possible without proper recording and broadcasting studios that Mahikeng FM will be launching today. There are many small businesses that exist around this town that rely on this station to promote and to market their product and their services. But there again, will not be possible without the latest technology and proper studios that we have here. That is why on the 20th anniversary of MDDA, it gives me such a great honor and a great pleasure, ladies and gentlemen, that we are here to commemorate and to launch the brand new broadcasting studios of Mahikeng FM. Let's give them one more big round of applause. For a moment of silence and prayer, I will be calling Reverend E. Kumalo to come and open the session officially with a word of prayer. Let's give him a big round of applause.
Tiratanka tatu yau yau ipete bana bau bache ete ria ubukaria ubukamo rinsi ritabarinsi ritabila risapila hamunatikapa are rapele ho wena ya bileng le runa, ho wena ya nang le runa ka jeno, ho wena ya tlanne a be le rona ka o sa fele, re isa ditanki le diteboho ho wena ka phihlello yena e kale. Re mo ho thaba le ho keteka modimo wa rona seo wena o re etseditseng sona ka mohau. Hlohonolofatsa hle karolo tsohle tse tlilong ho phethwa bakeng sa mosebetsi bona ebe o atlehileng, o tswellisitsweng pele ke wena, hobane tsohle tseo re di etsa tlotlisong ya lebitso la hao e seng la motho. Re o kopa tsena, re sa lebale ho ikopela tshwarelo ya melato, hobane re le baetsa dibe ba batsho. Re kopa tsena le tse ding ka Jesu Kriste morena wa rona. Amen.
Amen. Re a leboga moruti, re lebogile thata, re ikutlwa gore we are welcome and the show can go on. We are aware, ladies and gentlemen, that we are in a scorcher of a day. I've just been told that Mahikeng has hit the all-time high of 41 degrees Celsius. But breaking news is that in Limpopo it is 46 degrees Celsius. So you can imagine. Let's put our hands together for the welcome and opening by the CEO of Mahikeng FM, Mr. Karabo Khokong.
Minister in the presidency, Mayor Kumbuzo Nchabeni, Deputy Minister Mayor Nomasonto Motaung, Deputy Minister Ntate Kenny Murolong, the MEC on behalf of our Premier, Mape Mayor Motlalipula Khosho, Khosi Arona Haile Tenkwano, Khosi Jeff Muntsiwa, our respective mayors, our district mayor, Councillor Kumalo Molefe, our local mayor, Ntate Tsepiso Mpetlo, the MDDA Chairperson, Professor Matebula, Mahikeng FM Chairperson, Dr. Pagani Masukela, and the board in attendance, the MDDA Acting CEO, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, colleagues, good afternoon. I've been asked really to say something that as short as I am, to welcome everyone to the official opening, the official launch of the Mahikeng FM broadcast studios as proudly funded by the MDDA. I will not, ladies and gentlemen, waste anyone's time. As Samex has said, it is blazing hot, and we want to get this over and done with. But before I sit down and allow all the speakers who will be ascending the stage to come forth, I would really like to apologize for the delayed start of today's program, but we hope that it is not going to be a long program. Thank you very much to the MDDA once more, to the presidency, represented here by the respective minister and deputy ministers. Thank you to the board of directors of Mahikeng FM for their continuous support. Thank you to the staff of Mahikeng FM. This is not a thank you note, but to acknowledge all your hard work and support in everything that we've been going through. With those short words, ladies and gentlemen, you are welcome.
Let's give a big round of applause to the Afro Chant Marimba Band. I just got a message from the band, ladies and gentlemen, that you are allowed to dance, you are allowed to stand up, you are allowed to feel free as those sounds hit your soul. So it's not a sin to dance with them or to sing with them. Thank you very much to the CEO of Mahikeng FM, Mr. Karabo Kokong, for that opening and welcome. And now representing the the sector, ladies and gentlemen, is the National and Community Radio Forum Chairperson. Let's put our hands together for Mr. Hlanganani Malungani.
Good afternoon. I was asked a question, and I was like, no, I was born in these conditions. So they were right. Ladies and gentlemen, on behalf of the National Community Radio Forum, to the Minister in the Presidency, Deputy Minister, MEC, Mayors, Khosi, what an honor and a privilege to be in Mahikeng today. Everything yet Mahikeng I carry. In the Northwest, we've got almost 18 community radio stations. in the 4 districts that we are having. And it is a pleasure to share, Jorge. You know, in some areas like in Clarkstop, I remember the executive mayor then, in that China Dodovi MEC, Onaileko, and the MDDA has just launched our studios, that's in 2011. And I was very surprised to say, yo, the studios are not so leading kakai. There's this element of when young people come together and pursue development in the area where they live, as was said by Nelson Mandela, people begin to question why and all that. Ladies and gentlemen, it is an honor also to say community radio stations today play a pivotal role of making sure that my student alingo university it's on communication, baba it's on radio, baba it's on journalism and all that. They come into this institution and they learn from God's honor. What a big contribution that we are making. I know that you'll give a round of applause. And today you look back and Negibwale Ausbunolo, Kwale Kirko and Ausbunolo, you know, then the administration settling earlier and to the administration now. One of the most important things has become the easy road. If a mayor example was in Imbizo, a mayor would go to various areas, but for him to be able to in all these diverse areas, he will go on radio, speak Libatu, and then from there get calls, get to understand everywhere and all that. It is the power of what radio is doing in South Africa today. And to Mahikeng FM, congratulations for the new studios. Earlier I was saying, as others get theirs, whilst we are waiting ours, we clap and congratulate them. We in Northwest, it's you know, it's vast at times. Yamakata, there are community stations where there's only 2, if not 3 streets. Fela, then Behofedile. And as a result, without us coming together as NCRF to approach government together, to approach business together and make sure that we work as Imbumba, it becomes very difficult. But thank you again, MDDA, for seeing it fit that community radio stations must be afforded these beautiful studios. Thank you so much.
Ntate Hlangani Malungani with that message. And like I said earlier, in a nation that has mastered distraction, it is still encouraging, ladies and gentlemen, to have institutions like MDDA who are concerned about development and about preservation. And that is why I said today we are witnessing the preservation of a flame that MDDA makes sure that it will be passed from generation to generation. As we put our hands together, ladies and gentlemen, for a message of support, mechanism to community media, let's put our hands together as we welcome Professor Hlengani Matebula, who is the chairperson of MDDA board.
I see the MC has mastered the art of disinformation. But he is here and is doing a good job. Those who do not know Limpopo, the hottest part of Limpopo is Musina and Palaburu. That's the hottest part of Limpopo, Musina and Palaburu. If you look at your phones right now, it is 38 degrees in Musina, and it is 34 degrees in Palaburu. And in Mahikeng is 41 degrees. If anybody ever tell me about how Limpopo, how hot Limpopo is, it's going to be an issue. But as well, I mean, you have people like Kanganani, who's supposed to have been from Limpopo. He's as dark as me, and he's from Limpopo. He's from here in this province. Minister Chabeni she has just temporarily stepped out. Deputy ministers, mayors, MEC, the board chair of Mahikeng FM, and the people from the various community media in this place. Ladies and gentlemen, I really did not think that I would have to say this message, but I do have to say it because the last time in the morning I flanked out and decided I was not going to say the message that I had. But it's important that I do say it. But I as well want to be able to congratulate Mahikeng FM because a lot of people do not know this, but given the proximity of Mahikeng and Botswana, or parts of Botswana, the frequency does what it does best, crosses over. So as we talk here and this broadcast is carried, the people in Botswana are listening to us, and potentially the government in Botswana are listening to us, and they may find good reasons to copy some of the good work that is being done here to ensure that their communities are taken good care of. It is indeed with great pride that we gather here today in the presence of this community joined by the minister and deputy ministers in the presidency and our valued stakeholders to celebrate yet another important milestone in our ongoing journey to promote the development and sustainability of community as well as small commercial media. We are grateful for the support of the presidency in the execution of our mandate as the MDDA and in bringing development to communities through media, tools, and platforms. Community media forms a vital part of any society, and as it ensures that communities are represented, reflected as part of diverse nation. It engages people from different cultures and backgrounds, and through the use of indigenous languages, it advances dialogue and promotes participatory democracy. This year marks 20 years of MDDA since we first funded our community media a project. I heard the story that we donate. No, it's a grant funding. We do not donate. Donation suggests that if you do not comply with your license conditions, we are not going to come. In this instance, if you don't comply with your grant funding, we are coming for state-of-the-art equipment. We will give it to a community that is much more deserving, that will be able to keep true to their conditions. We have been intentional as MDDA about ensuring that the media project that we fund are weighted heavily towards the rural areas, while increasing emphasis is being placed on supporting projects run by and focus on the youth, women, and people living with disabilities. Whilst we continue to make strides in this regard, we also make the recognition that much still needs to be done, particularly in addressing the sustainability challenges that threatens the very existence of this vital sector. Now, we accept that the reality of media today is that it is challenged by misinformation, half-truth, and blatant disregard for credibility of information. And we think that community media such as Mahikeng FM stay true to the fact that when people want to get the true information that is required, they will listen to this station. When they want to get information that will be able to advance, whether it is the programs of government, and in greater detail, you do need to make sure and ensure that government programs are communicated. But more crucially, that community-based information which all other big radio stations might overlook because it doesn't matter for them, it matters for the communities that you are in. We are running into an election year. Our people deserve to be much more informed because an informed public is our first line of defense. When our people are not informed, It is when they have all manner of suspicions, all manner of theories that they formulate around what government does or government doesn't do. Now, when we communicate what the true state of our country is, what the developments are happening, what the weaknesses are, when we give opportunities to community members who could be both political parties from whatever angle, because the station is not politically based. So the station is a platform where everybody in this community has to have an access to do what they need to be able to do. Then you stand a chance for the community to own up to the programs that you make. When the station is able to create employment opportunities as a training base for youngsters that are coming out of this community, we stand an opportunity to then continue to be that spiritual home of radio or broadcasting or whatever else that many people that have come out of this area could be. I spoke about next year being an election year. But let me refer back to the years of COVID. Today, you can still meet our grannies wearing masks, despite that government has long said it's no longer necessary. That's the impact of community media. It was through community media that government was able to reach, to communicate the message around COVID-19. And it is through that many lives were saved. So it is important that we acknowledge the role that this community media is playing, but not only acknowledge it, but support it. And by supporting it, I want to be able to indicate that it as well encompasses a scenario where community media are able to give you not preferential rate when you want to advertise for your businesses, but as a person that has played in that space much more and knows, a 5-second advert could run into about 250,000 to 500,000 if it's on TV. If it's on radio, probably 150,000 to 200,000. But you could actually get away with about a 3-minute slot of advertising for less than 100,000 in a community media. And if you multiply those many times, then we can have a radio station that is sustainable, that we don't have to come back here. So with those words, I want to say we are pleased that you guys have continued to be on air, and we are looking forward to not coming back to give you more money, but to move to other communities.
Thank you. Thank you very much. The chairperson of MDDA board, Professor Hlengani Mathebula. And now, ladies and gentlemen, to welcome the councillor, Khumalo Molefe, who is the executive mayor of Ngaka Mudiri Molema, to give a message of support. Let's give him a big round of applause.
Thank you very much, Program Director Sir Max. I happen to have a combination of funny names. My name is Khumalo, but my surname is Molefe. It's very funny because when I leave the province and I'm in KZN, they insist I must speak in isiZulu. And that is how I came to learn isiZulu and isiXhosa. But ladies and gentlemen, Kwatsimolokhong Mutwadu Medise Khosikolo Khotleng Muntsiwa, who has been with us for the better part of the day. We must also take this moment and greet the presidency in its totality here present today, led by the minister in the presidency, Mekumbuzo Chabeni, the Deputy Minister, Menomasonto Mutaung, and our very own son, also in the presidency. What an achievement for our province. Re Kenny Morolong, those of us who do not know or remember, is from this province, the Northwest, and is a deputy minister in the presidency. By the way, once you are a minister or deputy minister in the presidency, you are ready to be the president in future, because you see what the president does all the time. So you are understudying the president. It's a serious achievement for those of us in the province who are known to be fighting, divided, hating one another. I must indicate that chapter is being closed very quickly. The MEC for money, MEC for treasury, Memutla Lepule Khosho, representing the Premier. Our Premier is Premier Bushimape. He has not been well, he is recovering. When we get a chance to pray, please, let's remember him. We wish him a speedy recovery. The chairperson of the MDDA, Professor Hlengani Matebula, the executive mayor of Mahikeng, Retsepi Sompetlo, the Mahikeng FM board, chairperson Dr. Palwani Masukela, management and staff of Mahikeng FM. I consider myself to be a family member of Mahikeng FM. When there was blood on the floor, because Minister, we must tell you, before this peace and stability prevailing in this station, there was war. There was blood on the floor. That was before some of us dreamt of becoming mayors. And as activists, we had to intervene, and we are happy that today there is order and prosperity. Thank you very much to the leadership of Mahikeng FM. But because I represent the district of Ngakamudiri Mulema, I want to take this opportunity to say thank you very much to the leadership of Mabatu FM. Because today we were not only doing Mahikeng FM, we started next door at Mahikeng FM, and I'm happy to report that there is no animosity or antagony or unhealthy competition between ourselves here at home, that is Mabatu FM and Mahikeng FM. We coexist as sisters or as brothers. Now, ladies and gentlemen, here where you are, we are called Ngakamudiri Mulema District Municipality. We are 5 local municipalities, that is Mahikeng, Ratlo, Tswaing, the well-known Ditsobotla, and Kosira Mutsiri Muilwa in Zirast. We are named after a freedom fighter and stalwart, the former national secretary of the ANC, who was a teacher and went on to become a doctor, trained in Glasgow. As we speak today, an academic block in Glasgow University is named after him. And that is who we are, so we dare not deface and defame his name. I must indicate, Minister, we are excited as a district by the investment you are championing through the MDDA by investing in the development of the media, because this country is yearning for ethical journalism. There's a growing tendency in tenders. It's called a construction mafia, which must be attended to. They tell me in Tswane you can't do projects anymore, they get hijacked like that. That cancer is spiraling all over the country. But we also need to pay attention, because the same cancer is spiraling in journalism, where they blackmail some of us who are politicians and write a whole lot of nonsense, and during the night they ask you to silence them with money. This investment by the MDDA in the development and diversity of the media will help this country overcome this emerging nonsense. I must in conclusion indicate, Minister, that we are the District of Ngaka-Modiri-Mulema. We are a water service authority. We are distressed and stretched on the question of water. We are a water scarce municipality. We dependent largely on groundwater. We have no less than 3,500 boreholes. You dig today, 8 months later, there is no water. You can imagine what is happening through the temperatures. But I must confess, the Department of Water and Sanitation is resident. The Minister and the Deputy Ministers are resident to this province. We appreciate the support that they give us. I would not have done justice if I do not acknowledge the support we are getting as the local sphere of government from the provincial government through a program of district development model and a program initiated by the provincial government called Tunsa Lerole, which forces all government departments, entities and partners to work together. Through that program, we say to you now, the days of division, backwardness, self-hate and all that, that chapter is beginning to be closed in the province. The center is beginning to hold. Government is beginning to serve its people through one plan and one budget. Minister, I must indicate when I tried so hard to conclude, here where we are, we manufacture leaders and stars. And I want to indicate that just recently, we won Comrade Marathon in 2018. 19 and 20, there was no Comrades Marathon because of COVID. I can tell you, Minister, 2022 and 2023, we won Comrade Marathon through a young man, a security officer here called Tete Dijan. This year we broke the record. Not only did we take number 1, we took number 1, number 3, number 4. We are number 2 in the female. About 8 of the first 9 are from this province. I saw the president having some good, nice time with the rugby champions. I plead through you, Minister, that these champions that we have produced deserve a lunch or a breakfast with the president. On those few words, I want to challenge the people of the Northwest, the people of Ngaka-Modiri-Mulema and Mahikeng. Let us appreciate this gift. It did not come for free. People died for this freedom. Nothing comes for free. This is an investment. Let us take care of it, multiply it, and leave it for generations to come. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you.
Let's give a big round of applause, ladies and gentlemen, to Afro Chant Marimba Band. Thank you very much. And also, thank you very much to the Executive Mayor of Ngaka Mudiri Mulema, Councillor Khumalo Molefe. Re a leboga thata. Ladies and gentlemen, indeed, like sand through the hourglass, so are the days of our lives. Today, with the advent of new media, digital media, radio has still standing the test of time. It's been over 100 years now in the existence of radio, but projects like this give us hope that radio will never die. So it's such a historic occasion that we gathered here to make sure that radio never dies. Even though there's new media and there are a lot of media spaces that are coming into space. It's a collective effort to make sure that that happens. Ladies and gentlemen, help me to welcome the Honorable Member of Parliament, Memo Tlalipula Khosho, who's also the MEC for the Provincial Treasury. She will be giving the message of support, but also she will be welcoming and introducing the Honorable Minister in the Presidency, Ms. Kumbuzo Nchabeni. Let's give her a big round of applause. No, let's show her some love. Let's give her just a little bit of love. Thank you. That's better. That's better. Over to you, ma'am.
You know, it's always a pleasure to attend an activity that you are the propeller for the day. Minister, my sister, our great steward in terms of good governance, let's take this time to appreciate you, Minister Kumbuzo Nchabeni, to have visited our province. I must acknowledge also Deputy Ministers in the Office of the Presidency, Honorable Mutaung, and son of the soil, Honorable Morolong. Always we take pride of you, must be honest, but also Minister Mutaung, you must know that we take pride as young people championing good governance in the Office of the Presidency. Executive Mayor of the district, the provincial and actually the district champion for DDM, our executive mayor for the local municipality, MDDA chair, Professor Matebula, Mahikeng FM chair, Dr. Masukela. By the way, Minister must indicate the two colleagues, they are former colleagues, Dr. Masukela and the district mayor. We are from the Department of Agriculture, both of us. Mahikeng FM CEO, Ntote Karabo Khoko, the Northwest Community Radio Station Hub Secretary, Thabo Liping, National Community Radio Station Forum, and Ntontate Nick Mutlou. I must also acknowledge our Mabatu FM team because we have started there in the morning. Khosi Khulu ya rona, Khosi Muntsiwa, all the traditional leaders that are here, leaders from faith-based organizations, our friends in the media. You know, I can see many of you are here to come and witness this special occasion. Bagaetso dumela mo mogoteng wa rona wa Mahikeng. Rona Prof, I can see you are complaining. You've already lodged the dispute in terms of the heat between Limpopo and Northwest. But I must assure you, in the Budget Council, we are one. In the Budget Council, we are a corridor. We talk about the corridor of Limpopo, Free State, Northern Cape, and the Northwest. So as we argue, that's how we support the budget. So this heat, we can just be part of us for today. Program Director, is indeed a privilege on behalf of the provincial government and on behalf of our Premier, Ntate Bushimape, whom is back at work but has mandated me on behalf of provincial government to come and express appreciation of the work that is being done through the MDDA, of course led by you, Minister. And to be forming part of this important event that is being launched today, it's history in making on the 5th of December, where we also remember our first president, Tata Madiba. May his soul rest in peace. I have no doubt that this investment will go a long way in helping this station to achieve their mandate in making sure that they continue to inform, to entertain, to educate our communities out there, because the role of the media is to ensure that we continuously educate, we continuously inform, we continuously entertain our audience. And surely, you know, MDDA, as you know, your media development diversity space is part of a transformation agenda that we must celebrate as we move towards the 30 years of our democracy. Program Director, community radio station and community media in general has become an important part of our lives. That's why we are saying, Minister, as provincial government, we've participated in the space of supporting community radio stations, and we will continue to partner with them with all the suggestions that you've made in terms of podcast. But also, I think it is important that we can commit that during this time, we can engage with young people in terms of opportunities that are there in government. Through different programs and news items that we read about and listen to on different platforms, we are kept abreast of issues in our communities. The importance of community media is best articulated in the three-tier system that the current government adopted after the country's democratic elections. And this has been a breakthrough. This was primarily aimed at strengthening our democracy and give our people a voice, particularly those in rural, poor, and marginalized communities. By the way, this is a space that we continue to advance activism, to advance development, to ensure that participatory development takes its course, and it takes its course through the media space. So community radio stations is a critical path for us for development within our communities, and it is a best enabler to continue to empower our communities, to continue to empower young people, to empower business people, to empower each and every person in the community to know about programs of development driven either by the private sector, driven in particular by government. And as government, we are obliged to participate and ensure that we support these programs. Through the years, this form of media has been a critical in shaping public opinion and the country's socio-economic and political discourse in various parts of our communities. All this would not have been possible had it not been for the sacred bearers in the fight against apartheid. Here in the Northwest, we pride ourselves with the struggle veterans like Ruth Sohumuti Mompati, our mother, Mama Rita Nzanga from a far-flung Fenestop, Ntate Malume Moses Kotani, Ntate J.B. Max, as well as many others who have participated in the fight against apartheid. Today, as we are gathered here, we celebrate this most important milestone. We stand on the shoulders of these giants who made it possible for us to be able to celebrate these great achievements, and especially around Mahikeng. By the way, Mahikeng, as a capital city, we are a city of communicators as well. We are a city that is able to give proper messages, either in Setswana. And I think our history, you can go to track it back, starting from your Motsweding FM, the footprint that is also here in the Northwest, because we are also hosting Motsweding FM. Program Director, while it is important to hold government accountable on issues of corruption, fraud, maladministration, and other cases of malfeasance, this form of media must equally play a developmental role by prioritizing developmental communication, journalism, and their programming and the news items. Hence, I continue to say that the entertainment space the education space, sharing of information space, it's where our community radio stations must take advantage so that we start to empower our own communities and also give proper communication messages to our communities out there. There is more stories that can be told without being sensational. And it is important that we take advantage of that as we start to communicate and give communicate programs of government within our communities. South Africa is a developing nation, and the media has proven to be an important instrument in the country's advocacy for nation building. Fighting the scourge of gender-based violence and communicating government's program initiatives and opportunities becomes a priority. This, I believe, should be the theme that should form part of a larger narrative of a discourse aimed at building our nation by being solution-driven on a number of challenges confronting our beloved province and our country. Critically, community media must be central in the preservation of languages, cultures, and heritage of our people in their different platforms. And hence I'm saying that we brand ourselves with the capacity of being able to communicate within our communities as the Northwest. So all our community radio stations are able to do that. And Mahikeng, we must be able to commend you. We must be able to say that we take pride of the great work that you are doing together with Mabatu community radio stations. Critically, community media must be central in the preservation of languages as well, and strengthen and empower young people to be able to start to take pride in terms of the indigenous languages. Our country is a non-racial, non-sexist, democratic country, which all of us must strive for its prosperity. Community media must be at the center of molding this narrative and advocating for this vision. So we commend you for the good work, but MDDMA, keep on doing this work. As government, will continue to work with you through the district development model, Majoro. I think that we must leverage on this work that has been done. As we run Tuntale Ruli, we must ensure that we partner with all our community radio stations to start to communicate the messages of service delivery on how we change the lives of our communities out there. As I conclude and commending you, let me also invite over to our minister, our great steward of good governance, a young lion of her time. We say that we want to appreciate you, Honorable Minister, as you come to address us, and appreciate that you've traveled to come to the Northwest. And we are all aware that in another form, you are also responsible for Ngakamudiri Mulema to be a better movement, to be a better community-based organization, to be a better leader of society. So we welcome you as our minister, and we appreciate that you have honored these 2 community radio stations. And as we usher you, we want to give you a message that we want to actually adopt you. We have to adopt you so that we continue to up the bar, because you've set the bar high, very high. So we want to adopt you, Minister. And then we want to commit that as this district, because I'm the champion, we are going to make sure that Mahikeng community radio station and Mabatu becomes vibrant, becomes live, and actually resonates with your vision. Over to you.
Malbongwe. You may be seated, thank you. To MEC Rosho, my dear sister, thank you for that invitation. Somebody did an introduction, so I see their steps. Chairman of the board, I need those numbers again. What is the degree in Limpopo today? 38 and 34, and we are on 41, Mr. Program Director. And Executive Mayor of the district, before we go on adoption, you are very happy you've got your young lion in union buildings. But that young lion is not just there on his own. There's a kindergarten keeper, and there are fees that gets paid. So I'll send MEC Rosho to collect from, or should I send Professor Matebula to collect the school fees, because this teacher is not being paid to hold hands. And on the issue of adoption, Jose Khulu was already promising me a stand. So it's for that reason I committed that in January I'll come back in another form. And so that we can then work on how do we make sure that this beautiful province of ours and the beautiful district of ours is indeed a home for us all. And I like the message that you say, the Limpopo, Mpumalanga, Northwest, you are a corridor. And indeed, you must remain a corridor. During my other life, we were talking about the transfrontier provinces as for the corridors of the country, including the Northern Cape. And that vision must never be lost, because we are also receiving communities in terms of the movement of people within the SADC. So it gives me great pleasure, Mr. CEO. I was looking for a station manager. They said, no, that's an old title. Old title. We deal with CEOs, and you represent those of us who are vertically gifted. So you did very well by trying to save us time. I have a problem with one deputy minister. We have to manage where he stands, you know, when there's office photo has to be taken, including when the big boss is there. Imagine, the president is there, we are managing where Kenny Morolong must stand so that he doesn't tower around us. The other time he wanted to walk in front of the president, I came, you don't walk in front of the president, you walk behind. So the school fees are important that they must be paid. Otherwise, I can leave the national embarrassment and let him gallop through. But that's how our office rolls. And with the big boss, and the big boss simply laughs and says, you can let him be. I said, the problem is that I'm going to fight with photographers. It gives me immense pleasure to be present today as we celebrate with you, Mr. CEO and the Chairman, this noble community project, a journey of resilience, I'm told, and then triumph over what you have traversed as Mahikeng FM for the last 17 years. As we unveiled the state-of-the-art studio and we did the interviews, we spoke about the role that you could play in promoting the entertainment industry here. And Executive Mayor Tsepiso, you were not in the studios when we were being interviewed. When we were growing up, Mahikeng was a home of entertainment, and I was saying, why can't we make millionaires and billionaires here? And we need to, in our lifetime, because we have said, Tsepiso, we grew up together. I'm slightly older though, it must be noted. We envisioned that we are the leadership that we are looking for. And in our lifetime, there must be changes that are impactful to our people. And we must deliver and drive a vision that we want to become to. So when we think of Mahikeng, what should come to mind first? It should be the home of entertainment. We are the home of entertainment, not because we claim so, but because we've got the greatest talent amongst us. Earlier in the morning, we listened to a voice better than that of Pavarotti. And I was even saying to the chairman, if this event was last week, I would have had a gig for, I forgot the name, my apologies. It's Tapelo, who performed the opera. So I was saying, because so we are, so what have we envisioned, Councillor Khumalo, what have we envisioned as that we make Ngakamudira stand out from others? Because we need to have a vision that we all collectively drive to. You've got 2 community radio stations within a 5-kilometer radius. How do you work with them to play off each other, but to also enhance each other's contribution? When Mabato FM will be driving gospel content and gospel entertainment, which is big in its own globally, how do we get Mahikeng FM to drive another form of entertainment and content? And I'm told you have 156,000 listenership. That is not small change in terms of numbers. There are national and commercial broadcasters who are fighting for that listenership, who are not having that listenership. So you must cherish that. And I was saying, that with the investment that we've made of 2.8 million, almost 3 million, and if we add the previous investment of 1.9 million, we're sitting at over almost 5 million in investment to you. I need to see, and I'm a great scholar of Pareto, I need to see my 80% returns. Remember the rule, those of, I see there are younger people, Pareto says you must get 80% of your outputs from 20% of your inputs. So I'm waiting, so now it's 5 million or 5.3 million, if my Mbiri education does not fail me, Chairman. So we must calculate what is 80% of the 5.3 million that you have invested in you. Because when we calculate that and you give me that, then we're starting to talk about the sustainability of the community media. Because you are a beacon, or in terms of a beacon of hope and leadership from what you have achieved so far, to be able to transmit or to self-transmit on your own. It is very important that you are progressing forward. And I've challenged the MDDA quietly to say we need to bring the ability for you to go to broadcast, because now you are streaming, by the way. I don't have to talk about streaming, you're already streaming. When we switched off the analogs that time, when we switched off the analog transmitters, we gave you a platform that your oyster is no longer Ngakamudiri, you can be listened to across the country. So how do we make sure that you elevate that platform and use it fruitfully and maximally to communicate what is from here? And for me, it's important because the community media plays an important role in creating a platform for us as decision makers to reconnect with our people, but also for our people to reconnect with us. And as we renew our vows to our people and we give through you, the voiceless, a voice to be heard, I'm even attempted to recall the words of President Ramaphosa when he said, we want to reconnect with our people, we want to get our people excited, we want to get our people again excited, and through local radio and through Mahikeng FM and other newspapers, Mabatu FM, online platforms, other community media, you can serve to create that excitement. The excitement about this country, a country, not only a country of hope, but a country alive with possibilities, but a country of great talent and immense blessings. And we may not see it because we are always focused on the West or the bad that is happening, but there's always great things happening in this country, and that needs this community media to amplify and to communicate more. And I'm going to do a challenge. How many young people do we have? Or is it too hard to do a challenge? And the dancing here is slow, Mr. CEO. It's slow. There was dancing the other side, but the crowd was not the dancing crowd here. But here I see there was potential for a dancing crowd, but he chose to give us mellow. But you know that our country is rated, in fact our currency, the rand, is rated amongst the top 10% most tradable currencies in the world. Did you know that? The young ones did not know. And that is not it's not coincidental. It is by hard work that your government continue to do to protect that rand. Who knows that is it Sri Lanka who lost the cricket World Cup under 19 hosting? Do you know? You do not know. Then Mr. CEO, me and you must have a conversation. I will not get the board involved now. Because if you are informative, that must come through. And you know who the ICC, the International Cricket Confederation, turned to? On short notice, they didn't even call us. We had, imagine, cabinet and the President of the Republic hears on an international announcement by the ICC that South Africa from the 14th or 19th of January 2024 until the 11th of February 2024 will be hosting the cricket under-19 World Cup because it's moved from Sri Lanka to South Africa. Why? Because we've got the state-of-the-art facilities. Who built them? the very government. We are an international hosting, event hosting a facility without even the world international community blinking. But if they have to talk, if we have to talk about South Africans, we say, oh, what about this, what about this, what about this? And instead of looking what is great amongst us. So we need to start to use the community media to communicate that which is great amongst us, because that's when we promote the goodwill. And you remember one president of another country says, let's make one country great again. And we have said we don't need anyone to make us great again. We've always been great, but we're not playing on our strength. We can only play on our strength with the partnerships that you offer us as the community media. And how do you offer us that that excitement? May I have some water, please? Thank you. It's because the community media must serve as a unifying force, connecting people with shared interest and concerns. It must amplify the unique stories and experiences within the community, promoting an understanding and empathy amongst its members. In essence, community media must act as a catalyst for social cohesion, empowering individuals to actively engage in dialogue, bridge cultural gaps, and collectively address the challenges for a greater good of our society. That is the role that you must play for us. And the MDDA is there to support you as you build your own resilience. And with that, that's why they've enabled you to build the state-of-the-art studios. They've stood with you throughout the difficult journeys and to make sure that they support you. They still have a long program to make sure that they walk the path with you to your sustainability and to your resilience. But also we have undertaken with the chairman that we are going to go to our rich cousins in the family, you know. We are the poorer cousins. We'll go to the rich cousins and see if we cannot find a celebration of the immense contribution that community media has done in unearthing talent. Because in a population where the average age is 28.8, majority of the young are talented people in the entertainment space. So we want to unearth that talent and promote it with the efforts that you have done. I know there are people that you use in your own broadcast for that. As the presidency, we firmly believe that a strong and vibrant community media can build bridges between diverse people and groups, improve governance, increase knowledge of complex issues, provide early warning of potential conflicts, as well as an outlet to express a variety of views and opinions. And why is that important is because as a country that is a very communicative country and a society that's very communicative, we need to channel the dialogue so that we can also remove the fake news, because there's always those who want to peddle lies, who want to peddle fake news as if it's true and distort the message of our government. And the dialogue that you create is important. But you can't create dialogue if your presenters are not well informed. So we need your well-informed presenters, we need your well-trained presenters, not only because they are useful for communicating an accurate message, but because this platform that you create is also an opportunity for them to rise to higher grounds. If you go to Glenn Lewis images from, by the way, here, but also started in the community media, which most people do not know. He's now a celebrated DJ all over. And we can name a whole lot of them who have come through the ranks. But it's because when you engage, even now and I'm allowed to promote Radio 2000 as a public broadcaster, even now when you listen to his show on the public broadcaster, Radio 2000, he will tell, when you call, a caller calls in and say, it's too hot in Mahikeng, it's 45 degrees Celsius. He says, no. The South Africa weather, Bureau of Weather Services is telling us that it's actually 41 degrees Celsius. Because that's what presenters must do, not allow a conversation to go on unmediated with news, but also the position that you sit with your close relationship with the MDD and your license conditions. It allows you that when you are running out of content of people to explain, you must be able to reach out to the shareholder department of MDDA, GCIS, and say, the MECs in Northwest are not coming through, but also now we want ministers to come through our program. A program that has 156,000 listeners should be able to attract ministers to come through. It should not be a celebration that Kumbuzo Nchabeni, Kenny Morolong, and Sonto Mutaung are in Ngakamudire, in Mahikeng today. We must always be here to do, even if we are not physically here, we must be able to be here to join your talk shows, because you are 60% talk, and 40% music. That content on that 60% must be driven by communicating what is accurate, what are the opportunities that your government is offering, not only our young people, but our communities. What are the next programs that are coming through? How is government handling the challenges that are confronting the country? What should people not panic about that is being peddled as fake lies? So I'll look forward to that engagement, more so because in 2024 is not only an election year. 2024 as a country, we celebrate 30 years of our freedom and democracy. And that message must come through what has the government done, because it's important to dispel the notion that apartheid was better. Apartheid could not have ever been better when our parents and grandparents were not allowed to move freely, when our parents and grandparents were not allowed to take particular jobs, when women and black people were not allowed to pursue certain careers, when a black person who was an assistant to Dr. Christian Barnard in the first heart transplant, actually he's the one who told him what to do to succeed in the heart transplant, was never acknowledged. But majority of our young people do not know that the brains behind the so-called Dr. Chris Barnard heart plant is a black man who had standard 3 and was a gardener, but worked in the laboratory as an assistant. And they tell us black excellence is not there. And when we have our own community media, we need to start celebrating that black excellence is there. The other time I was giving a lecture on preserving African intellectualism, and I was mentioning the intellectuals that maths and science was not founded in Europe. Maths and science was founded in Timbuktu, in Mali. I don't know how many of you know. The study of astronomy was not founded in Europe, it was founded here in the African continent. But because our community media is not closing that gap, we are having a nation that, and the young people in particular, who do not know the cost. This freedom was not free. This freedom is worth preserving, is worth fighting to keep, because any other person will not preserve it for us. If you want to know, go to Tshwane and see what happens in Atteridgeville, in Mamelodi, in Rankua. Go to the Western Cape and see what happens in Mitchell's Plain, in Nyanga, in Guguleti, in Imizamoletu, and see how black people continue to live in oppression in a country that is free. Whereas on the other side, the services, if there's a pothole, is closed tomorrow. Yes, there are challenges of potholes. It's because the road network has increased. There was only one main road that was tarred here during the Bob period. The other ones were being re-gravelled. Now we've got more kilometers to cover. But we should have planned better to say, when you're expanding the kilometer coverage, you must also expand your capacity to do maintenance. But that's why now we say, when you are leading a local municipality, when you lead a government, you must always have a minimum qualification. That's why Kenny Morolong was in interviews today to determine whether he's fit to lead next year as part of the cohort that will represent the governing party to go. Because you cannot continue to put people who know nothing about mathematics and accounting in leadership and expect miracles. You know, as a debit and a credit, the understanding of where the debit and the credit goes is very important, that basics. But it's, as we learn, as we improve. But that communication comes through the community media. And we are here to walk the journey with you. We are here to walk the path with you. We want to challenge you to say, we need to see you make an impact better than you are currently making, though we appreciate and congratulate you for the steps that you have achieved. And I'd like to say to the chairman of MDDA and your team, thank you for the great work you continue to do. And I know I'm not a very easy boss, and the demands and targets are very difficult. Thank you for continuing to meet them step by step, and we know we've got bigger plans for this community media and the community media across the country, because we think that black people, African people in general, women and youth and blacks in general will own media from the basis of this community media without facing the hurdles that you currently face as the community media sector. Thank you very much.
Pasela. Thank you very much, Minister, for the keynote address. We appreciate that. Before that, Honorable MEC Khosho, thank you very much. You are one of the most effective, if not the most effective MECs in this province. Let's give them a big round of applause. CEO, I'm not sure who came up with this date today. You remember why we're having the launch on the 5th of December? Minister's office. I'm not sure from the minister's office, did they know when they came up with this date that today, on the 5th of December, 45 years back, a radio station was born in this city. A radio station that went on to become a beacon and epitome of radio, not just in this part of the world, but throughout the Republic of South Africa and worldwide, by then Radio Bob. It was launched on this day 45 years back, and today we are launching the new world state-of-the-art studios by MDDA. That is why, ladies and gentlemen, I believe that Mahikeng is the theater, Mahikeng is the paradise of radio. And then the chairperson of MDDA, Professor, we're not sure, I still have to check the numbers in terms of the weather. That's where our numbers do not tally about Limpopo and Northwest. But there's something that we're going to agree on, at least that one we don't have to double check. That Mahikeng FM is the Rolls Royce of the community radio in South Africa. You said that. Mahikeng FM is in the top 20 of all the top community radio stations in South Africa, and number 1 in this particular province. Let's give them a big round of applause. Before I call on the chairperson of the board of Mahikeng FM, in fact, the minister's office is inviting all the media houses to join her immediately after we close the session at the foyer to be there for interview and all that. So the media, let me change the microphone. The executive mayor is backing me up, so it means Kiki did it recently. All right. All right. Members of the media are invited to join the minister immediately after the session at the foyer for the interview. So please, after this, make way to the foyer so that we can make our way into that. Ladies and gentlemen, we have come to the peak of our session today. And now I'm going to call the chairperson of the board of Mahikeng FM. Let's put our hands together for Dr. Phakani Masukela to give a word of thanks.
Thank you, Semex. Let me take this opportunity to do just a small work. But I want to differ with the methodology of the professor. Me and him being academics who must be leading the society to the right direction. It befits the element of distorting information. Now, when I'm correcting you, Prof, I would like to borrow from the book that I prefer most of the time that I call The Signature of the Station. Is the book from Amiral Cabral, Guinness Liberations of Africa. It was made popular by one of the elder statesmen, President Thabo Mbeki, in 1999, when he says, hide nothing from the faces of our masses. Tell no lies or claim no easily victories when they are told. So I'm trying to rectify this in a sense that you initially did a great work by saying, we are the Rolls Royce of the community radio station. And later on, you bring a new methodology that distort a great output of your research. Ladies and gentlemen, mine is just to say thank you. It befits the element of appreciating who we are without quoting the relevancy. Minister in the presidency, minister responsible for statistics South Africa, and also in charge of MDDA. I appreciated in one of your quotations when you were explaining the aspect of podcast. And when I'm listening to Semex, when you quote the 5th of December, the 5th of December today, I realize most of us, we don't acknowledge something imperative that happens 10 years ago on the 5th of this day, when we lost the first state president of the country. It's befitting that element that before I say thank you, we bring statistics because we normally say numbers don't lie. Today we're celebrating MDDA 20 years. Today we celebrate 10 years of the loss of the elder statesman. When you take 10 plus 20, it gives you 30. 30 next year, we are heading for democracy. We are celebrating 30 years of anniversary of this democratic country. Moreover, I would like to challenge particularly the MDDA board chairperson and the minister with the number 30. I will cancel mathematically the 0, leave it in 3 by saying thank you. 3 means repetitively in biblically. It means 3 things in one. When you repeat to your God, you say the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit. Mathematically, you call it infinity. It means it repeats itself on ongoing purposes. So I'm crushing the concept that the chairperson says when they are done today, they are leaving as CEO. I'm putting this as a challenge to the board of the MDDA because we have a trendsetters. We must continuously journey together, not leaving one another. And I enjoy what the minister said. It will be imperative that we continuously move to another. Earlier on, I shared an ideology that the reason why we are called Mahikeng FM, not by mistake. We are number 9 country-wise out of community radio station, doing great things. We are number 3 when we are comparing ourselves with public broadcasters out of Mutsweding, Lesedi, and us, and the rest will follow. But most important thing that I want to say it, I'm saying this, Minister, when I look, Deputy Minister Mema Mutaung, we're just sharing ideologies here. And I remember something very imperative that we must share collectively. We are the only radio stations that come from the iceberg and reaches to the level where we are. We want to say thank you in a sense that the support that you give us does not make us a product, but make us a brand. And in earlier on, I think it's a colleague from MDDA. When I said, we thank you, MDDA, to bring the quality studios, the international digital studios that we're using, that we even beat some of commercial stations in terms of the state-of-the-art infrastructure that we have. However, I said it can only be 2 things. I want to pose this question to you, Minister and the board chairperson, to say, if you have 1,000 rand, you are hungry and you have desire to have sneakers, which one will you choose to do with that 1,000 rand? And I said to this colleague of mine, personally in Mahikeng, when we have 1,000 rand as a radio station, we do not buy food. We choose to buy sneakers. I think most of you see how the CEO walks in confidence with those red sneakers that he's wearing. Because the reason behind is that if you buy food for today, tomorrow you wake up hungry. But you buy sneakers, tomorrow you move there with confidence and you bring a lot of investment in your entity. It is on those bases that as a station, we are not comparing ourselves with our peers. We always raise the bar. Compete ourselves with commercial stations and PBs, so that tomorrow whoever comes and acknowledge our deeds it is very imperative that we appreciate what we do. I would like to say thank you, Minister, to bring this event to close. I said something very amazing to Deputy Minister, says, it's been postponed, and I was worried that we are going to postpone again. And why I'm saying this, allow me to borrow from the book written by Nelson Mandela called Long Walk to Freedom, page 375, the third paragraph of it. It refers about a routine. It's a mystery for those who continue doing a mystery. And I said to her, I was worried that we are going same the route of the routine, of remain a mystery between us, MDDA, and the presidency by keep postponing ourselves. It is in this endeavor we appreciate whatever that we've been granted. It is true, Chair, this is not a donation, it's a grant. And as a man of stature, a man who leads the board, a man who strives to allow the CEO to champion everything, I like to do corrections also in your methodology. The grant is not equivalent because people say we do not account appropriate. I'm looking the minister, MEC for finance, who always talks about scope and other accountabilities. The grant that we offered us is 2,369,000. So to be precise, it is not worth 2.8. So there's a shortfall that will come and require to assist us to cover that argument that we had on the other side. In conclusion, I would like to say, board of MDDA, we are very appreciative, much appreciative, because gratitude surpasses the way to say thank you. It is befitting the exercise for us to say we don't appreciate, but the gratitude and the symbols that give endeavor in life of our own as a station give us a direction to come and pioneer the level that we are. Minister, deputy ministers in the same office of the president, we batla re holona me mamutaung ra leboha jolo ka ngwana Freestata re santse re khomutse le manamane ao re khutlele ho wena boto ya MDDA re nkhentsile nkofu nkhentsile tatana Mathebula re tla ho wena minister re ndolo bua ngamanda ngwana le gae Kenny Morolong re ka se bue mantswe a manga fetang or re pula re ne le rona ba rolong ba ka kwano re tumeletse botle ba leng kwano re a leboa se atla duma se seng ka tsotle tse re fileng tsona mme re santse re pele ya pele le ka moso re tla gutla re kokota mamating a mararo re santse re tshepile lona. We thank you on behalf of the board and the station and the operation. We thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Dr. Pakani Masukela, the chairperson of the board of Mahikeng FM. Murutuaka, akitsi negere ke go zame gape. O tlo go etswala. Bar mo ke a go zama fela ke mo hau ka. Ke kopa otle. Ke kopa otle go etswala. Ladies and gentlemen, it's been a great privilege and a great honor to facilitate this program today. And I hope that the seed that we have planted today and the baton that we have lit today that has manifested into a flame will be passed from generation to generation. My name is Semex Kamaku.
Remenga maoto bohle. Re ya rapela ba haeso. Re a leboha modimo wa rona. O bile le rona mo ketjaneng ona o neng o hlophisitswe ke seyalemoya le bohle ba amanang le sona. Re fihlile pheletsong ya mosebetsi ona. Jwale bolellwa ka dijo mare a tseba hore di teng. Jwale Paulus o kila re dijo ke tsa mpa le yona ke ya dijo. Hlohonolofatsa hle bao ba re hlophiseditseng tsona. Hlohonolofatse le mmele e tlang ho di amohela. Meqetellong ya tshebeletso ena ke re mohau wa morena wa ka Jesu Kriste, lerato la Modimo Ntate, kopano le matshediso a moya o halalelang di be le lona bohle. Amen.